Thank you, Grace of Heaven, the Grand Masters, and all lecture transmitters and lecturers, and for you who are here today. And see, I was expecting you, the little children, but it's okay. So, however, this story is about Raj Kumar, who is a temple host in the country of Nepal. And Nepal is a place where we seems to be having quite a lot of disaster from since time, ancient times. And it is said that calamities happen more often in places where they have bad karmas, or so that they have to pay back because so. But this one is calamity is about an earthquake which was experienced. And so, something great about this story is it tells you how great the Dao is and how important it is that the three treasures are, and that it really works. So though when the video is shown, you will not be able to hear a lot of it because I guess because of the sound effect at the time, but still the story behind it is rather interesting. And so I hope this is a very short presentation because of the video that will be shown. But Mr. Kumar, who hosts this temple in Nepal, was interviewed about the earthquake and disaster which destroyed his home. Mr. Kumar is going to tell you about his home that he lives in. He and his mother and his children, who was constantly getting these dreams and saying, well, he should repair the home. His mother also keep asking him to repair, but he somehow, like most of us, I guess we have dreams and we don't. The problem is that we don't really listen, or we don't take our dreams seriously. But when I look at this video, I keep asking myself, is this like a regular dream because of his, you could call it maybe nagging by his mom, or it was one of the Buddhas or saints that was telling him to do this work because they knew exactly what was going to happen. But however, he eventually did the work and repaired the temple. Not the temple, but his home. And the disaster came, the earthquake came, and funny thing is that he was not home. And while he was away and the earthquake came, he was there thinking about his family, and which shows, some of the things that is taught in the temple about a son or daughter thinking or having great concern about their parents. So, but he was not just thinking about his mom, but he was also thinking about his children, and he was trying to recite the three treasures while the earthquake was coming, and which was a great thing. And the funny thing about it is that while he was doing that, his daughter, who also is a Dao kin, was also doing likewise. So that was like a big thing where he is on one side of the country reciting the three treasures, his daughter was on another side reciting. So they had really good connection with heaven. And when the earthquake actually came, Mr. Kumar was worried, but still he had the faith and the confidence that heaven will actually help his family. And most of the places, his house was hit by the earthquake, but most of the place where his family was at the time was not touched because of the work that he did. So eventually he did listen. So as he spoke about his constant dream in his interview, and advising him to repair the temple because of the leaky roof and all of that stuff, and if he did not do it, that means totally would have ignored totally the advice from wherever, if it was heaven or if it was just a regular dream. But he did listen, and eventually, following his dream and his mother's advice, Mr. Kumar did the job. And some days after, actually in the interview, he said it was 18 days after he did the work, the earthquake actually hit that part of the country. And he was so happy to know that he actually was able to follow his dream and did that job, and his family was safe. Many of the houses around the area was destroyed, but eventually it was amazing to see that, well, they didn't really show you the other parts of the country, just his temple or the house that they were living in, they showed you. But still, for an earthquake of that size, and to see the houses, first of all, not built like houses here, let's say in the United States. And it was an old house, so, but still you could look at the structure and see that, knowing that an earthquake and what an earthquake is, and still the house was able, part of it was able to stand up. So to me, I think this is a clear indication that heaven was there to do something to help and the safety, so forth. So, and because of the reciting of the three treasures, they were able to have that safety there. So okay, so Mr. Kumar always, because he was away and his praying and so on, trying to make sure that his family was safe. So the time, he was explaining to in his interview how important the three treasures are. So sometimes we actually take it for granted because we don't really get into any extreme danger and to experience it to say we are reciting the three treasures. But when we look at the video, we'll see how important it is to see. They're not showing, first of all, when they're doing that, but as him telling the story, we'll see how important it is for us to have that wherewithal to say, well, if we have this extreme danger, that we can recite the three treasures and heaven will come and help us in that time of extreme danger. So that is the gist of Mr. Kumar's story, explaining how important it is to believe and reciting the three treasures when we have this extreme danger. So when we are doing the three treasures and we can send an SOS. That is a good indication to say the SOS really work. So in our communities here, when there is a problem, we hear the police sending out what they call an APB to say, well, all points, meaning everybody. It's the same thing. The SOS is the same thing. When we say, if we should have to say, send out an SOS, all the Buddhas and saints will come, because why? We are Dao kins and they will not leave us alone. They will come and help us. So let's use Mr. Kumar's story and of that earthquake in Nepal to show that the three treasures really work. And if we do send out this sincere SOS, heaven will actually come to help us. So the three treasures really work. So just in case, if we should ever have any type of disaster like that in New York or any place we may be traveling, or what, we'll be able to use it, and it will work once we are sincere when we are sending out that SOS. So Mr. Kumar family, they were all safe, and which was a good thing. So he was able to give a good interview with it. I don't know why the interview came up, but because the video didn't give you a lot of details about all that stuff, and but it is a good thing and it's a lesson for us. So, and before I show the video, I like to conclude by saying this is simply a remarkable event, and a statement, a testament from heaven that there are 5 notable things in this remarkable story: that the Dao is real, the three treasures is true, having a home temple is beneficial, it is important to have a family member receive, or all family members receiving the Dao, and then the 5th one is a blessing, and sincerely believe that in God and trust in Him. So that is my outline of this, and now I'd like to show you the video so that you could understand what this is all about. It goes in and out, so
Rajkumar Gaiju. I'm using to stay in this temple. I have 6 family members. One of my member is my mother. My mother, she used to stay in our old house. Old house that's very old, very unique type. Before this earthquake, I used to, before 2-3 months before, I used to have dream like sometime very big raining, big earthquaking, and the house is collapsing. And my mother also used to tell me, son, this our house is very old. It's rain is leaking, water leaking, so it should be repaired. Always she's also saying. Then I was sure to repair this. The backside only, the backside, not front side. And I repaired it. It took time for 21 days, 3 weeks. Yeah, it took time 3 weeks. Hardly finished 3 weeks after. Then New Year came. We celebrated New Year. Then after two weeks after only, after 2 weeks, 18 days after the disaster happened. And I was so worried. That time I was in another temple, our main temple, the Lalitpur Tolaiti. When I reached there, suddenly the earthquake came. Me and the Shramik, Sanu's son, we both were hiding beneath the table, and we're using the 3 treasures that time. We're using 3 treasures and praying to save my family and my mother. Very hurriedly I came. The main highway, it was stopped because of the road was crashed. Then traffic sent to the another old way. Then I came from there. When I saw the Ramsundar house, here and there, both sides I saw, I was very nervous and senseless around. The Bhaktapur will be destroyed, or totally should be destroyed totally. When I near about this temple, I saw so many both sides, the road both sides, the houses were lying, collapsing. Then when I reached in this Kamal Vinayak, this our near temple, beneath the temple, the door is locked. One of our neighbor here, she told me, your family is safe in the ground. Then after, I'm worried about my mother. Then we go to house. We try to enter the city, everywhere blocked. We meet our relatives, and they say, your mom is safe. Your mom gone to another relative's house. Then I take a long break. I usually that around that 12 o'clock time. In house, she used to take lunch after take rest. Usually, that time she gone another relative house, got saved. Then my wife again she worried about her father. Because her father also used to stay in house because he was sick. He could not see the eye well. That day, her parents, her mother, her father, all gone to field. You know why? In my pocket, the Mila Chengu is in my pocket. Yeah. Every Saturday, my sisters used to come to see her, my mother. But that Saturday didn't come. How safe God. Also, my wife also used to go every Saturday to her parents' house. That time she didn't go. Very big coincidence, isn't it? To share each other.
I will make town members actor also and to live together. I will do all this.
When the earthquaking, she is beneath the table and she chanting loudly. The quake. When the quake is big, she
increasing
she chant loudly. When the quake low, the chant is low. She is using treasure and crying. Thanks to the Almighty God. Very, very thanks. Before I used to think my feet is just not working properly. This time works properly. The coincidence is that my father's big brother's younger son's family were down there. Because of that, made of that, they saved from there. Because if I didn't make that there, first of all, that will go fall down. Then they will collapse. They saved from this. So I was not sad because of this. Even gone down, I'm not sad.
Then how you?
And hardly thank to God. Thanks to this Lao Mu.
What do you think? There's the three treasures work, right? Yeah. So you notice that he said, even though the house was destroyed, he was not sad because what was important, his family was safe. So the house can always be rebuilt, but if the family was taken away in the earthquake, they'll be gone. So most of the time you'll find a person say, oh, my house, but the house is not important because like we say all these are material things or they are everything, even life is temporary, but the important thing here is that his belief and the family belief that in the Dao, and they were able to chant the three treasures. See him saying that his daughter, while the earthquake was coming, when it was low, that she was not hearing a lot of noise, she was chanting the three treasures softly, but when the earthquake intensified, she was going louder and louder. So it's great, and look, they're so happy because they're still there afterwards. So I think it's a great story for us to see and look at, and that we could believe a little bit more in the three treasures and knowing that this really works. So hopefully that my presentation was okay and for you and you got something out of it. So if I said anything incorrectly or I made any mistakes, I am asking for heaven forgiveness, and I thank you for this opportunity for me to do this small presentation.